What is a great honour to be asked to front this 50th anniversary concert by the Delph Youth Band. When Matt rang me and he said, would you like to do it? I said, yes, thank you. He said, well, I'm sure he said, you're the best we could get. What he actually said was, you're the best we could get. However, no problem. What have I got here? Yes. The chairs, yes. It's the first Delph concert that I've played at that I won't have to move chairs when we've finished. So that's a good do, isn't it? Church notices. I hope you've all participated with the raffle. Anybody who has been unlucky enough to miss it, I think they're still available downstairs. Okay, so we've got a fabulous collection of talented musicians, both young and old, and some of the buggies are very old. But let's get on and let's welcome the current senior band. Will you welcome the Delph Youth Band? Now an even bigger welcome to Matt Stimson. Steady man, that stage hasn't been reinforced. There you go, pal.
go into the back room, that's so good. We used to manage to get, I don't know how we did it, but we used to time it so that every year we managed to have a band concert when Strictly the Final was on, and people used to get really annoyed with me about it. So I'm really sorry about the football being on as well at the same time. I didn't plan that, so by the way we're playing that up, yeah. So, is it still 1-1? Yeah, okay, there we go. Glad you're really paying attention to that first piece. So we open with a piece called Pulsar by Alan Fernie, and we've played loads of pieces by Alan Fernie. He's a really great composer for lots of different styles of music and different bands. And he wrote that one. He says, a pulsar is a highly magnetized rotating neutron star or white dwarf that emits a beam of electromagnetic radiation. And obviously it's full of energy, which is exactly how we wanted to start today. We're going to move on to our second piece. And last year, for the first time that anyone can remember, we went to the National Youth Championships and we played a programme. And some of us stayed afterwards and we played a piece of music called When the Stars Began to Fall. And it's a really beautiful piece of music. And we went to watch one of the other bands just to hear what other bands were doing and things like that. And one of them played a piece of music that was based around this. It's a fancy on American spirituals, and includes When the Stars Began to Fall, as well as I'm going to sing Steal Away and Every Time I Feel the Spirit. So this is Jubilation by James Kirkle. I'm really glad he didn't. Our next piece of music, bass players, a very special breed of people. And it's often youth bands find it very difficult to find bass players for obvious reasons. And I always remember playing in a band and this bass player came in and people were taking the mick out of each other's instruments basically. And he turned around and said, look, you don't pick a bass, the bass picks you. It's very, very deep and meaningful. And it takes me back, I remember when this young man first ran into the band room, full of excitement. And that excitement hasn't in any way gone down at all. And he came to the band and went through the band, and eventually, I don't know, probably about 4 years ago, he said, I'd really like to play a solo with the band. We're really lucky that Joe, on bass, he comes to band quite regularly because Spike makes him. And so he comes to band. But actually, no, for quite a long time, Freddie was our bass player. So having a bass solo with no other bass players made it impossible. And then Robert came, and he came to see us play. And Robert used to play cornet in the band. And he said, I'd like to come back to band. He said, but I don't like cornet. I don't want to play cornet. He said, I see you've got some space on bass. I'd like to play bass. I was like, yes. And then I was like, now Freddie can play a solo. And I think it's really fitting when we're looking at 50 years and what makes a band and what takes 50 years and the people that along the way do lots of stuff. And Freddie's that exact same person, exactly the person that we want everyone in our band to be like. I think he's brilliant. You better play though, hasn't he? So he's chosen, that's what isn't it? So I chose for him to play a piece of music which is actually a calypso song by Lord Kitchener, written in 1963 and then was released again in 1965, and then it was sampled by Pitbull in 2011, and then it was used in Paddington 2, and that's where most people know it from. This is Freddie to play Jump in the Line. Give him a round of applause. There's some bits in there I didn't know he was going to do. There's one bit in this technique they did called multiphonic, so he's playing and singing at the same time. It's insane. Another round of applause. I think he broke his bass on the way back to his chair, so it's not good. So we're now going to move on to a piece of music. It was written first in 1963, but the most famous version was in 1965 by the Mamas and Papas. People talk about the sound, Californian sound, and I think this is one of the first pieces that actually brought this sound to worldwide recognition. The song went to the Grammy Hall of Fame in 2001, being covered by loads of people, and ours is a cover from 2011, I think it is, maybe a bit later. But this is California Dreaming. Oh, something went like that. This is California Dreaming. There's a bit on, might be more, it says on the trombone part, menacing. And if anyone knows anything about trombones, we don't like to encourage them to do that, but we're doing that one, which is really cool. One of my favourite times of year with Friday, going down the street, even now, it's emotional, that's a bit weird, but going down the high street and everybody joining in and cheering us, it's just like the most amazing feeling that you could ever experience. It's unbelievable. If you don't play, then just learn, like, they'll be fine and come along, yeah, and that'll be cool. So, we're going to play this year on Good Friday. So this year we played a piece of music called Try Everything, and this is Try Everything. just beforehand trying to walk down the street, and we try and time it and figure out how long it's going to be. And we have people walk down the street to see if we've got too much or too little. So this year we had too much. So the week before Whit Friday, I cut out part of the music, about 8 bars of the music. And as we got towards the end just there, some people in the band had the first set of parts and some had the others. And this look of fear went in their face. They're like, oh, we've stopped, but should we have stopped? So there we go. So, Barney.
Yeah.
Sorry, come in. What happened?
We won.
Yeah! So when's our next concert then? We're going to move on to a medley of pieces, and we've done this one quite a lot recently, so for people that have been to lots of concerts recently, then I'm kind of sorry, but I really like it. So we're going to play, like, these films are iconic, and we keep getting these people to come and be this lead character. I keep talking about in concerts how hopefully one day I will be that lead character. I don't know if it's going to happen, but we'll find out. We've had much older people play this character. So this is the best of Bond.
very much, band. Excellent. We'll have a brew name. It's gratifying to know that this band has been going for 50 years. And even more gratifying to know that there's at least 2 players that have stuck with Delph Band. Now that's what you call loyalty. It just indicates the camaraderie that there is in this band. It's a brilliant setup. And I'm extremely pleased to welcome our first speaker. This is a guy, I don't know what he's going to say, but he can certainly make a euphonium talk. Will you welcome Keith Palmer?
I'm just going to try and see if you can hear me without this, because I hate these things. I only ever sing karaoke on these tracks. I know I'm tall, Bob, but I've been asked to say a few words about the early days of the youth band, and luckily I bumped into Matthew Roebuck. Matthew Tooley. And Matthew Tooley was son of Ted Tooley. And he told me something I'd never heard before. And this is like just a few minutes ago downstairs. That this band has been going for 50 years, and yes, I've been here pretty much all the time. That's why I've been chosen to say this, because I'm one of the older ones that you keep referring to. It's actually quite disconcerting when he announces how old these pieces are, and they're sort of 1 year younger than I am. But Delph Youth Band started by accident. And I've only just found this out. And it was a chance meeting. Ted lived in Ashton at the time, and he'd come up to Delph, obviously up to the beautiful village of Delph, and he was going for a walk, and he bumped into a guy just as he was passing on it. The guy was called Fred Hurst. Now, if nobody knows who Fred Hurst was, if you see all the old pictures of Delph Band marching down on Whit Friday, he was the guy with the bowler at the front, marching down on Whit Friday morning. And they got chatting, and he found out that Ted was a trombone player. And they were talking about trombone playing and talking about conducting. He said, well, we need a conductor at Delph Band. Do you fancy coming up and having a go? So Ted said, well, yeah, go on then, I will. So he came up and he started to conduct the Delph Band. Not the Delph Youth Band, the Delph Band. And he said, no, this is not for me. All they want to do is turn up, play a bit and have a few beers. They're not serious about getting any better. Delph Band weren't a contesting band in those days, and that was it. It was a social band. You turned up, you had a few beers, and you went home again. And I think I seem to remember some adjudicated remarks from years and years ago from the Delph Band on Whit Friday, and it said, time and tune, no object. So that gives you some idea of the standard of the band. But Ted said, but what I will do, and what I'm interested in doing, I'd like to start a youth band. And I'd like to train people up from the start. And as a result, from that chance meeting, on a walk in the village of Delph, the youth band was started 50 years ago. I thought it was quite an interesting story. Anyway, you may wonder why I'm holding a quilter. This isn't the kind of thing that people usually have as a prop. But you notice Matt has been, he conducts with a baton. Well, one of my first experiences in Delph Band and Delph Youth Band, and it carried on for quite a while, in fact all the time I was in it, was the conducting style of Ted. He had quite a unique way of teaching you how to play things. He had one of these, unfortunately I don't know where the original one went, but it was pink, and I couldn't find the pink one. I only found this in the wardrobe today, but I've been looking for it. Something like that James Bond. It conducts it a bit like this. purely because of Ted's conducting technique. You're quite lucky you don't get that these days. Actually, as a result, neither me or Lorraine, who's been actually about 2 weeks longer than me, she was there right at the start, 50 years ago. As a result, neither of us can sight read now because we just use Catholic things back everything's sung to us. I've now got something very valuable in the senior band called an Emma. And Emma, I try to read the notes and Emma tells me how it goes. And so she's sort of taking the role, she just doesn't hit me with the notes. Another couple of little stories about the early days of the youth band. Ted also had a unique way of selecting. We've heard how the bass chooses the player. It's a bit like a sorting hat. Yeah? Well, Ted, as you walked into the band room, my very first experience of walking into the band room was I'd been dragged there by both my sisters who wanted to play, and I wanted to go play football. Ironic after tonight. So he said, "Let me look at you." So he stood there, and he got my eldest sister first. Jane was the oldest, and my sister Jane. She stood there, and he said, "Let's look at you." And she's quite a bit smaller than me, Jane, but she was a little bit like that. And he looked at her, looked up and down, and he said, "I've got a trombone." She said, "Great." So he handed her a trombone. And then my other sister was there, and she was quite a bit younger, and he looked at her and said, "So look at it, yeah, tenor horn." He gave her a tenor horn. And he looked up me up and down, and he said, "Got a cornet, so look at your teeth." No, I'm not good for the cornet. I've got another trombone. "I'm not playing a trombone, same as my sister," was my reply. "Wait a minute, I've got a euphonium. It'd just be right for you, euphonium." Never heard of one of those, which is really weird because nobody else in the world that I speak to has ever heard of one. I've spent the last 50 years explaining what one is. And no, it's not a trumpet. So, he gave me this euphonium, and that was it. I've never changed the instrument ever since. And I have to say, a couple of years later, the senior band pretty much collapsed, and a big chunk of them moved on. And the youth band that was pretty much moved up all one block. There's a big chunk. There's just one or two elder members. It feels a little bit like that at the moment. Because in the senior band at the moment now, I am one of those elder members. And the difference is, the talent that's coming through now is far better than we were when we first came through. Far better. Matt's doing an amazing job. And it's great to see these young players coming through from the youth band and stepping straight into a second section band. I mean, we were all right, you know. We formed the band. 2 years later, we won the national championship of Great Britain in the 4th section. So we weren't bad. But these guys are going straight into a second section band. They just slot in. It's like they've been there all the time. So I'd like to thank Matt at this stage. I know it's not in my remit, but I'd like to thank Matt and all the team of the youth band for the work they do, because most people don't know that I'm the chairman of the senior band, so it's probably my place to do that at the moment. So, absolute amazing job.
starburst. It's meant to represent space, and so we've got right at the beginning a really fast excitement of the energy of space, and then lower down we get the depths of space and what is it that we can't see and what do we not know about. It's a fascinating piece of music. I mentioned earlier on about last year we went for the first time to the National Youth Championships, and this time we went for the second time. But we went to a competitive section, we went to the intermediate section, and I really enjoyed preparing the pieces that we played with the band. And there were some pretty hard pieces that we did, and we played really, really well. And it was really fitting that in our 50th year, we managed to come away with a gold award, which I thought was really cool. So we're going to play two pieces from that programme now. The first one is a beautiful hymn. Keith mentioned that one of the pieces was written like 2 years when he was in the band. This one's from like 1700. So, you know, yeah, it'll make me feel better now. So it's absolutely beautiful. The hymn tune's actually just called Manchester. And so this is Manchester. And this was the piece we finished with at National Youth Championships. It's a really, really good piece. At the interval, there's like a bar, you get drinks, very good, not too many. And then there's going to be some rearrangement of the stage. So when you come back for the second half, you might have to just bear with us slightly as we try and fit people on. But this piece of music, I really like it. We had a concert in the band club a few weeks ago. A Norwegian wind band joined us. I've never known an audience like them. They were unbelievable. And we didn't play this piece. So therefore, you can show them how it's going to be done. We'll film it, we'll send it to them. You can sing and join in. Originally it was by the Bangles. It's from 1986 and it's their first ever #1. And this is Walk Like a Musician. And more excitement. There's a silent auction. Here we go. So if you look at the back, Natalie there. Nat, look at this. This is wonderful, Natalie. So, that's me. Wow. Yes, quite sure what to say next. So this is a beautiful picture that's been painted by Delph artist Richard Clare, not Claire, Richard Clare. And Natalie's basically like bullied all of the businesses in Delph to make sure they can give us loads of really cool raffle prizes, which is amazing. It's lovely to know that we're supported by the village, and a massive thank you for Natalie for going and doing that. There's a silent auction for this, so it's worth £300. I think, is it about that? 125. So there's a silent auction, and at the back you can put your silent auction in a special thing, an envelope we'll call it, and then you can hopefully win this wonderful, wonderful picture. And there's loads of really cool prizes, and I need to make sure you get some tickets because there's the fish and chip supper to be won, which I'm very obsessed about. So yes, so don't win that one. You won't like that one. Terrible. You're awful. So this is Walk Like a Musician.
after that. We're going to have a short break now, and as I said at the beginning, has anybody been unlucky enough to not get some raffle tickets? Because I think they're still available there in the bottom. We'll be doing the draw at the end, won't we, Matt?
Yes.
Yeah, that's that, isn't it? Keep them here. Okay, so one more time. Delph Youth Band, Master. And I believe the second half's going to be even more spectacular. I've seen so many people that have played in the band and got on to other things, so it'd be nice to see all those people coming together in a mass band. Well, this breathtaking. Talking about Back to the Future. Look at that. Okay, I think you're all virtually assembled. Will you welcome once again the Delph Youth, the trainers and the guests. And now, if you can get here, will you welcome the MD? Are you conducting from there, Dan? Dan Barker-Wilson. Eventually.
one of the first things that the tutors and the training band will do with all the bands is the Whit Friday marches in the morning. So starting off there with Slayburn, it's one of the first ones that actually learn when we're going down the streets every time, okay? And we have, and everyone through the band at some point will have been almost in either the tutors or the training band on that Whit Friday morning, marching at the back in a little huddle, trying to march up Grange Bar Road, okay? And it's one of the earliest memories that I have when I first started teaching as well, and just that little group that we had. Just to give you a bit of an idea, when I first started, we had people like Amy and Oliver who were in the training band, and they've now left the youth band. They've got a lot older now, you know, adults. Makes me feel old. And then we also have people like George and Josh here, who were in the tutors when I first started. They've come all the way through and now sitting on the principal position. We've also got people like Freddie as well in the back, and they've moved right through to now being regular members now of the senior band as well. So we're seeing all the time these people developing and progressing through. And it's such a great thing. We're going to show you now, or show off our training band and tutors, and what they're going to do in a second. I feel that's a health and safety risk. They're going to make their way to the front of the stage here and stand in between the rows of players that are going here. So, if you can start making your way over here now. I'm actually wondering if it makes it better for me to just stand on the floor. I've got everything safe. Yeah, I think it's safe. So, if you guys want to come and walk off the stage around the front here. So, you're going to be seeing our training band and some of our teams that are playing with this now. And you heard it before when we were arriving. And we worked really hard trying to play as much different kind of music as possible. We always come back to our favourites. Doesn't matter what year, what age they are, they always come back to saying, can we do this one, can we do that one? So a lot of the music that you hear is actually some of the music that we were playing when Josh and George and Freddie were this size and age as well. Basically we're playing here with the rest of the bands here accompanying us is going to be a jazz version of Them Bones. Right. My health and safety head is much clearer now. Yeah. Much better. Okay. Great. So, without further ado, it's the Delph Youth Band training band playing Them Bones. Make sure you do see Sam here at the end as well. You don't see him, but definitely hear him. again for... That's it for me tonight. The next conductor that we're going to be invited onto the stage is the senior band's musical director, and it's Phil McGuinn.
Thank you very much, everyone, and very good evening on this very momentous occasion. I came to Delph in 1980, and I came to do one job. And yeah, I'm still here. That job, though, was the National Championships of Great Britain, and when I was asked to do it, I didn't actually know where Delph was. I was working in Manchester, living in Manchester, and I got this call to say, "Will you come and take this band?" And I didn't really know what to expect, but I turned up and I did a rehearsal, and they asked me to stay and take them to the competition. And of course, they went on to win that competition. I didn't know, but Delph were the very first band in Southern to ever win a national championships. But what I'd inherited was essentially the sort of remnants of the senior band and the youth band. Keith mentioned this before. And what I found great over those years is all those people, many of them have stayed. And one of the nice things about getting older, not many things, but one of the nicer things, is that you can actually look back and you see people how they develop. And just as today we've got people who are still at school, and you see them as they grow into teenagers and they go off to college or university or into their first job. Then you see them get married and they get a family, and it just grows and grows and grows. And that's given me immense satisfaction watching those people, how they have developed. Not only that, their desire and their passion to keep on giving to Delph Band in all its forms. And we went on, as we mentioned in the programme, that some of those people who were in that original band in 1980 are still with us today. And even more remarkably, in 2010, we yet again went to the National Championships and won once more. Again, being the only Southern band to ever win a national title twice. And again, the real pleasure for me was that many of those people that had won it in 1980 were still in the band. And so that's what we strive for, is we want to have that feeling of belonging and how we develop together as a unit, not only musically, but socially. Over those years, of course, there's been many ups and downs. Sometimes, you know, the band has gone through, we've had the highs, as we talked about, we've also had a few troughs as well. But the spirit that we have is what's kept the band together. And equally with the youth band, again, they've been down to quite small numbers at times, but at the moment, of course, they're riding high, and that's down to fantastic the direction they're getting from everyone at the moment. Sadly, of course, though, over those years, some of those members have sadly passed away, and that is a little bit of life, of course, as we move through that, but many of them taken tragically far, far too young. And we're going to play a piece in a moment to sort of reflect that. I'd like to ask Spike just to say a few words about one particular member who was very, very special to us.
Hi everyone, I knew Mark very well. I knew him in two big ways. The first way was he was the train band conductor when I was in the train band, and the second big way was he gave me private lessons from a very young age, and also gave my brother back there who went. He gave him private lessons as well. Training band with Mark was always just an absolute joy. I mean, Mark himself was really wonderful, and every training band session was so different than the last youth band from a young age. You know, he got me going to some youth band concerts and joining the band, which I really didn't expect, and he always encouraged that. And having private lessons with him as well, really getting to see the way he worked was, I mean, again, just wonderful. Like, one of my favourite memories is, I think it was on our first or second lesson, he realised I was a Star Wars fan quite quickly, and he came to me on the third lesson, and he had an arrangement of the Canteen Band theme from the original Star Wars, and I played it through, and I said, "Oh, it's a really great arrangement now," and he said, "Oh, thanks, I did it a couple of days ago." You know, and that just showed me the exact kind of person he really was, and, you know, I never really realised how great a player he was until he passed away. You know, just thinking about it now, the way he sounded, it was like, whenever he played the cornet, it sounded like he was singing, you know, and he had this sound which I haven't heard replicated anywhere else, and I miss that sound very much, and I miss him very much, and ever since he passed away, ever since he very sadly passed away, I've always felt there's been a hole, been a gap in the youth band that has never, should never, will never be filled, because he was such an important part of the training band and the youth band in so many ways.
Swingin 60s. But just before we play that, for all the parents out there, grandparents, aunties, uncles, I would say, I know that when I was aged 11, I turned back to my home from school with a tuba. My parents were dismayed. Okay. My neighbours even more so after a few weeks. But, you know, the thing that's so important, and being able to play that instrument, I've been very fortunate in my career, and that being able, the ability to play an instrument, not only has it enabled me to travel all over the world and to do fantastic things, more importantly, it means that wherever you go, you've got friends, and I've met the most amazing people and still have the most amazing friends. And if you play an instrument, particularly in brass bands, we are one huge community. So to all the parents, etc. out there, keep on supporting, keep on encouraging, because we need these people for the future. And we really are looking forward to all of them progressing and being in this band in 50 years' time. I'll come back and visit. But this piece we're going to play, some of you are old enough to remember a guy called Bert Camper. He and his orchestra are fantastic. I haven't had a chance to rehearse this, I'm not going to do it now, but in the audience, if you know this tune, we normally have a whistle at the beginning. If you know the tune, then whistle along. It's called a Swingin Safari. Yes.
Once again, the Amalgam Band and Phil Goodwin. And I'm sure the whole of Delph appreciates the amount of loyalty that Phil Goodwin has given this band. Stepping in at the last minute to go to London, winning at London, winning twice at London. Phil Goodwin is a legend. One more round of applause. And my personal thanks to Spike Nice words, that's fine. Thank you very much. Don't forget my lad. Yes, over the 50 years, we've had a number of MDs. Ted Tooley started the whole thing. Legendary Bob Platt. He taught Mark, along with Brett Howarth. Not that Brett Howarth conducted the band. Debbie Dewsbury. Some of these names will mean absolutely nothing at all to you, because of the history, you know. But one conductor that we have here tonight, and it's a delight to see you again, Chris. So, to close this section, will you please welcome Chris Partington.
use a microphone, but of all the weeks we've got a really heavy cold. This is not good. So anyway, when bands all go through lows and highs and so on, I took over the youth band 2004. I think the first rehearsal we had three. I think there were three of us. We gradually built that up. There was a team of people. Mark came back and helped out and so on, and we gradually built this up. Obviously we started with music very similar to what the Tutors are playing. You know, it was very simple music, but it soon became a goal to try and get us to be good enough to go out at Whit Friday, to do something on Whit Friday. So the piece that we've just played is the March to Trusty, and that's the first piece that we actually went out on when I was conducting at Whit Friday. Didn't sound like that the first time we went out. I think it was recognisable as True and Trusty, but they were doing the best and they did a great job. It was great to see them there. I'm not a Delph fan, I'm from that village over that way, Greenfield, but my mum's a Delph. And there's nothing like, I know some people have mentioned this, but there's nothing like walking down that village with everybody cheering and the whisper sort of goes around, like it's Delph Youth Band. You know, it's an amazing feeling. And one of the pieces of music, or the types of music that we sort of used to try and engage the children in the youth band at the time was film music. We started off with some very simple arrangements of Dances with Wolves and a few things like that. I took the youth band for 6 years, and by the end of it, we were playing music a bit like this one. Now, literally, this is the first time this pattern has been out of the box since I stopped conducting the youth band 12 years ago. So, if I achieve getting to the end of the music with the band, that will be some achievement, because I haven't looked at this music until this morning. But it's a good piece of music, and we found that film music, as with the Bond music and other things, and you'll hear some coming up further on, it really engaged the children. So we're going to play for you a selection from Pirates of the Caribbean. as I said, it's the first time I've actually opened a conducting case since 12 years ago. And it's amazing what you find in there. Because randomly, this brings back a memory that some of those that were in the youth band when I conducted at Street Planner of Bruges. Because we did a tour to Belgium, and that's been in that case ever since. I don't know if I ever used it, but anyway, Street Planner of Bruges. It was a most wonderful trip. We managed to do all sorts of things, a bit of history at Ypres and so on. I also randomly found Julie Lake's Christmas raffle tickets. So I don't know if she ever won. I don't know if she's here tonight, but I've still got the tickets. That was from 2010. Quite worryingly, because I also conducted Friesland Band at the time, I found the keys to the Friesland Band room, which I believe that one has now been knocked down. So, as I said, a lot of the music that I suppose is accessible to youth bands, as I've already said, is film music. There's obviously the Whit Friday stuff, but also poppy sorts of music. And randomly, I know what date this was. I didn't tell them the reason. I remember it, but the first LP I ever bought was in 1982, the 19th of February. I remember the day well. And this track that we're going to play now is one of the tracks that's on there. I am a child of the 60s. I was born in the 60s. The music of the 60s was something I sort of loved. So this is a track by the Monkees, and it's called Daydream Believer.
Thanks, gang. And I think now the moment you've all been waiting for, the raffle. Where's Matt? Is he here? You're going to announce them, aren't you, Matt? You've got them. Have you got the numbers? Oh, they're on the way. It's all right. It has been pre-drawn, so I know I haven't won. What do you think, Matt? No.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, okay, so the winners are, I'll just read the names because there's a lot of numbers. Beth Bowker Wilson. Now, one thing I will add, Beth got married this year. Just says Beth Bowker on here, so clearly she's not using her full name.
It says half a million, I may not change it. I'm having fun.
Okay. Good luck, Dan. Angela Hare, Dominic Franklin, Paul Jones, Wendy Tomkinson, Fiona Wilson, Ross Olsen, Pam Byrne, Damien Bakes, Monica Sellers. Just then you get a name like that, and you've won. Barbara Whitehead. There's some proper things going on here. Paul Lover Cooper. The Stimpsons. Rob Gibson. Amy Richards. Andy Walker. Damien Bakes. Fiona Wilson. Pam Byrne. Lawson. And then the painting, the highest bid, was Sue. Where's Sue? Up on the balcony, there we go, in the private zone. Well done, Sue. Sue's filming for Spike, so it's just randomly up there on her own chair. So, yeah, brilliant. There we go, so that's the raffle. That's fantastic. I'm now going to introduce the band's current co-chairs, Kieran and Spike, who'd like to say a few words. Kieran and Spike.
Hey everyone. From a lot of people, so some people will be wishing around there that I give it a shot, so I will. In the band, we've talked about lots of people through the years, and lots of people that are musical directors or members of the band, but also behind all of those people and working in a team with them are the people in the background, the committee, the volunteers, the parents, all the people that are helping get things organised, get paperwork together, move kit around, raise money for the band to make sure we can keep doing this amazing work. And we've seen many of them here tonight, people doing the raffle, organising the bar, organising the venue, all moving kit around, all those things that I've just mentioned. I'm not going to go down my names because there's so many to thank that I will guarantee I will forget someone. So I'd just like to ask we all a round of applause for all the committee members, volunteers that have helped out towards this concert. It's been a 6-month effort to get here, and thank you very much on behalf of myself and Spike.
There are two people in particular that I'm going to thank, two people that are very important to the current training band, or current Tuesday training band and the youth band. The first person is the training band conductor, who I see, almost every Saturday morning pushing the introduce us in ways that in ambitious and in very exciting ways, playing alongside them and making them the talented players we all know they're going to be in the future. The other talented players we saw last tonight as well, the incredible players that we know they'll be, and he is making them incredible players. So please can we give a big round of applause and a big thank you to Dan Bowker. Another thank you, and that is to our youth band conductor. This person, I have been in the band I think as long as him now, or maybe slightly longer, just and every single rehearsal he comes into smiling, full of energy, full of life, and ready to make the next 2 hours superbly enjoyable, make everybody laugh, make everybody progress in ways that I really didn't think were possible for the youth band. I think he's done it time and time again, and I mean, I don't really know where this youth band would be without him. So can you all give the biggest round of applause to the one and the only Mr. Matt Stimson. Incredibly talented players. That being said, who really knows what the future has in store? Because things are changing all the time, especially with the threats of AI. For so many people, that might take away from what they do. But there's one thing AI won't take away, and that is this youth band. I remember my dad saying this to me, Spike, when are you going to leave the youth band? It was only a couple of years ago, and I said to him, Dad, the thing in the youth band that you never really leave. And whilst that is kind of a joke, and people do literally leave, go through amazing things, I think there's a part of you which never really leaves the youth band. Part of you which you always take with you from the band, whether it's the memories, the friendships, the relationships, and just the really wild experiences that I don't really think you get at any other youth band. So I like to think that the future involves us and also involves anyone who's going to go into this youth band and join the youth band in the future as well. So yeah.
I chose this piece. Basically, I asked all the players to fill in pieces that they remembered, and loads of those pieces have been played tonight. This one was maybe really selfish. It was the first piece that I ever bought for the youth band, and I really like it. And I've told lots of stories about this piece of music because we've played it on different concerts, but I just think it's fantastic. And played this morning, it sounds really, really cool. So this is The Lion King. piece. You've been a great audience, but that wasn't. We've come to our last piece. Lots of people have said lots of thank yous. I'm really lucky. I come and wave my arm for 2 hours on a Saturday morning. It's great, and you know, it's wonderful. For me, seeing the young people in the band grow up is unbelievable, and just seeing how they like turn out as young people. And for me, I'm really lucky. Like loads of people in the band, either band or parents. I'm so lucky that I count them as friends now, and I think that's just amazing. And I see them regularly, and just what they do and how they work together is just amazing. And I thought some of the things that Spike said were absolutely beautiful. How Delph Youth Band never leaves you. There are people on this stage that have tried. It doesn't work. Okay, they can't. If anybody, Chris said this really nice thing on his email he sent to me. He said that from a banding point of view, the 6 years that he conducted with the band were his happiest in banding. I've been really lucky. I've been here for 12 years, and actually Becky was on the original interview panel. So if you've got any problems, then just see Becky. She'll sort it. And it's just such a pleasure standing in front of these young people and the joy they get from music. It's been amazing as well. Charles' grandson plays in one band, which is amazing. My next job is to hopefully get one of the ex-players so that we can like self-populate the band. If they can start getting kids and then bring them to the band, that'd be lovely. So I can see some people in the audience thinking, not my child yet, I don't want to be grandparent yet. But yes, so please, like if you see anybody in the streets that you think they could do with the band, bring them along. So that'd be amazing, that'd be really cool. Our last piece that we're going to play, unless you like really like it and want more piece, is a really special piece. We thought, what can we do that's dead special for the 50th anniversary of the band? And Delph's really lucky. They've got an internationally renowned composer who lives in the village. And so we commissioned Paul to write a piece for us, and Paul's at the back. And I've asked Paul if he can just say something about the piece, so we could welcome Paul Cooper.
Evening, everyone. I don't know what I'm more excited about, the fact that I've got a world premiere, or I've actually finally won a raffle prize. I couldn't believe it when they said my name. It's brilliant. So it's been an extreme pleasure and an honour to get this commission. For the last 20 years, I've been working as a professional composer, and I travel around the world. And this is actually my favourite commission, because just a week ago I was over in America for another premiere, and it was a 11-hour flight to get there, and tonight it's been a 5-minute car drive to get here. So it's been great. But what I wanted to do was compose a piece of music that was sort of forward-thinking and encapsulated sort of a youth band element to it. So I absolutely love living in Delph, and one of the things I do on Whip Friday is I'm out in the morning, I get my E-flat bass on. I'm not an E-flat bass player, by the way, but I get the E-flat bass on and I play with Delph Youth Band and Delph Band, and we do the Whip morning marches, which I absolutely love. But the thing that's synonymous with Delph is Hail Smiling Morn. So I thought, I've got to take that melody line and do something with it. So be ba ba bum ba ba ba. So I took the first few notes, dee da da dum, and I thought, do you know what, let's turn it into a bit of a fanfare, and then let's take the music, that little phrase, let's invert it, turn it upside down, let's integrate it, so turn it back to front, and then put it all together with some harmony music, but also make it sound funky and fun with a rock beat, so it's good for the kids. So you'll hear Hail Smiling Morn throughout this piece, and that sort of encapsulates the music, and so I hope you enjoy it. I'm really excited to hear it. As for the title, I'm blown away by the energy in enthusiasm from the staff that run Delph Band, Delph Youth Band, and the parents, you know, the support that they have. So I thought, do you know what? They are trailblazers in their own right. So I thought, let's call the piece Trailblazers. So I hope you enjoy the world premiere of Trailblazers.
the end of the concert, and I would like to say what a tremendous performance, gang. Well done, everybody. Well done, everybody. About time to get his arms back in. There were a lot there, weren't there, Pop? It's been cracking there. Well done.
While Bob's talking, Bob, for me, synonymous with the band club and announcing concerts and like done loads of them. And for me, it was really fitting that we asked Bob to come and bring tonight's proceedings together. And as always, he's done a wonderful job. So give a round of applause to Bob. If you've enjoyed yourselves half as much as me, I've enjoyed myself twice as much as you. So, no more to do, Matt. Hang on, have you got something? No, it don't matter. I'm just going to dial 9 o'clock on the railings. Yeah. I'll borrow a stick off a minute. All right. Nobody can hear us. It's all right. Hail Smiley Morning is just the most wonderful thing. When we play in the morning, we play that, it is unbelievable. And watching everybody in the village come together and all of the bands come together and support each other, it's just brilliant. So it's really fitting that we finished the concert with this. A massive thank you to all of you for coming, for whatever role you've played in the band in the past, the present and the future. Thank you so much, and hopefully another 50 years and somebody else will be doing this. So, but thank you so much, and this is Hail Smiley Morning. If you pack up, your kids will get out much quicker.